Hello, this is Steven Jolson. I'm the lead designer of Shadows of Abigail. Thank you for checking in with us once more. Today we're going to be showing you our current progress on our Carnival level and our 2 interior levels. So here, once again, Abigail will start in the forest, and we're actually going to be using the forest as the tutorial area for the player. So as you can see, she'll cross the bridge, and here she encounters Mr. Snuggles, who is part mentor character and a huge part of the story. So here he's going to tell her that she needs to use this elephant, which is actually a physics block. It's like a plush toy to help her get over objects. So the player's kind of learning that they're going to get these objects out of the environment to help them navigate. So here you see a floating branch, and currently that's proxy. We're hoping soon we can get like a tree like you see here bent with the tree branch connecting. Here Snuggles will tell her about combat and how to use her slingshot. And that's where she encounters her first enemy, which is a moper. Here you see some of our sleeping trees. One of the things we're thinking about doing with them is having a four-men's choir singing a song, introducing her to the carnival. And here's the current work on our carnival. As you can see, we have the Ferris wheel moving. You have your first enemy, Pudge, here. You caught him picking his butt, and now you are going ahead and dispatching him. So Abigail is heading into the carnival, and now she is encountering these physics blocks, having to move them to progress throughout the level. Some simple combat. This was really arranged, the pacing was arranged to be simple at first, so that the player can kind of get used to the mechanics. Here you'll see some of our scaffolding, which we're actually we took from, we had initially wanted to have a roller coaster that you can actually platform on. And when we found out that wasn't going to be feasible with scope, we actually were able to reuse those assets as gameplay. That ticket booth you see there is actually a checkpoint that is working in the game. So here is an instance where Abigail is actually going to walk into a living carnival game, and she's going to walk in, and then trips an action trigger, and that begins these walls closing in on her. And she actually has to escape before they crush her. And we are adding spikes to those platforms so that we can actually have more danger right now. So here she is getting into the Candyland, as you can see in the background. Before she gets there, she actually has to put out these fires. So Abigail's going to get onto the platforms, and she's going to have to shoot some targets to get them to fire out. As you can see, there was a rock there that she shot. And right now, we're having some issues with getting our targets into the game visibly so that you can see those. So now Abigail's moving into Candyland. I hope you like the font. This Candyland is basically going to be a candy factory. And you're going to see a lot of these towers that have platforms moving in and out of them. And those will have candy on top of them. So here the player can go below the scaffolding, or they can go above. We're trying to make sure that we can have some non-linear gameplay that the player can kind of choose which way to go. So here the object is that the lollipops are actually blocking your path, so you have to find ways using the plush toys to kind of get over those. And as you can see, you're actually going to come up to a bit of a bug, and those green towers are obviously work in progress. But here, Abigail's actually getting stuck. And when I recorded this, I didn't want to try and fake out the viewer that our game has no bugs. So if you see something that's really weird, I kind of left that in there on purpose to show you the things that we're trying to fix. So here's a simple platforming area. Here comes kind of like another game that Abigail is going to encounter, where as you see, there's a rock on the top left corner up there. That's supposed to be a target. There's actually a hazard trigger set over that, which is not visible right now, something we're working on. She's actually got to get on top of these platforms and actually shoot those to kind of turn off the fire. As you can see, the fires have turned off, and now she can carefully progress away from those spikes out of here. And as you can see right now, her collision box is actually colliding with the scaffolding and the moving platform. So that's something that we're also trying to fix. So now here we go. We are getting into the funhouse exterior, and out here we don't know how much gameplay we actually are going to put out here. It's not going to be anything like you've seen before. It might just be simple combat. But here she will encounter Snuggles, Mr. Snuggles again, and he's going to basically tell her that she needs to go into the funhouse as part of her journey to get out to leave the carnival. So now we're going to show you some of the work that's being done on the funhouse interior. That's being done by our designer Micah Brown. And we have some kind of cool moments here, some scripted events with the kind of stars popping out, and as you can hear the voiceover. I'm going to let that play for a bit. So here is a giant jester robot, and those feet and hands are actually platforms that Abigail's going to have to move around by shooting the hands and also by shooting the bells on the jester hat. Right now, the game is not completely functional. Abigail actually, when she runs under the feet, they should actually be slamming down on top of her as a pretty serious hazard. But we do have these assets into the game now. Those are actually an animation. Prior to that, we were using platform navigation to get those to move. But he has a bell on his jester hat, and by shooting those, you can actually move the legs up and down. But as you can see here, by shooting the hands, they'll move, and the object is to get onto these hands so you can move off to the far right. You kind of see a platform sticking out, and move on to the next room. So now we're going to go back outside and leave the funhouse and head into the arcade. In here, we have some very simple gameplay, and as you can see in the top left-hand corner, we actually have our health bar in right now. And here she's approaching a Sally, which is really kind of a scary, demented doll whose head spins in 360 degrees. And you can kind of hear some of the sound work that is actually being implemented daily. It's very neat stuff. So here we go into the haunted house exterior, and this is a really interesting area. This, once again, like every other area, has its own sounds and its own original music, which was made by our art lead. And you can see there in the background the haunted house and the windows glowing. And you can see we've hopped over those columns, and those are actually going to be used as platforming areas on the 2D track. And once again, she's going to encounter Mr. Snuggles, who's going to tell her once again that she needs to go into the haunted house in order to escape from the carnival. So we're actually going to go ahead and go into the haunted house interior. And we actually are going to be able to load into these interiors from the exterior. So this is the first room where Abigail's actually going to fall through the floor onto a platform that's going to begin moving. And she's actually going to have to platform her way through this crypt. And this is going to be done by shooting the different triggers in the environment. Once again, those triggers are rock assets, but soon, once we get that working, we can move forward and have targets there. So this crypt will be something where she has to stay onto that platform. We will design it so that she can get out. And once she gets onto the elevator, she's actually going to be exiting into this floor, which is actually going to be in the mouth of a fireplace. And hopefully some of that gameplay you guys will be able to see soon. So thank you so much for checking in with us. This is Steve Jolson, and look forward to seeing you next week. Thanks a lot. Bye.